We're going. Hey, so this is another episode of Dumb and Dumbest with Matt Bacon and Curtis Dewar, where everything is awful and the house is on fire, where we talk about the music industry and being a DIY band and all that stuff. Today we have my friend Dave from Made in Brooklyn Screen Printing.
How you guys doing today?
And obviously Curtis is over in Canada.
It's like the magic of the internet.
It is like the magic of the internet. We are all here joined together.
Yeah.
So today we wanted to talk about t-shirt printing. Great, because Dave's been kind enough to kind of lend his time to this podcast that, you know, people apparently care about. So I guess, Dave, what are sort of the three big keys for a band printing their first batch of shirts, or even a band printing, you know, their 50th batch of shirts?
Well, most important thing is having your idea ready before you start sending over the emails. Have the artwork prepared, have it high quality, having a rough idea of how many pieces you're going to get, and try to have an understanding of what's about to happen in the sense that you're buying shirts to resell. So you got to come up with some cool idea, cool colors, and be ready to plug away and to promote it as hard as you can.
That basically sounds correct. What makes a design not suck?
Usually when you get a design by a designer, when somebody else draws one of your friends or something that does it for free, it could be a cool design. It could go somewhere. But you really have to look at it in a sense like, would I buy this design? And would I buy this T-shirt if I saw it at a merch table? And you got to be a little objective about it. Because, yeah, your friend might have made it and it's a good pal of yours, but design might not be as strong. It might not be bold. It might not have been designed to be put on a T-shirt. So it won't really look as solid as it should.
So how do you find out what's going to be a good design then? Do you do surveys or how do you do it?
I mean, honestly, look down at the shirt you're wearing half the time. Look at the High on Fire and the Sleep and the Neurosis designs and other bands, the merchandise that you've purchased that caught your eye and caught your attention, and you went ahead and spent money on it. And some of those dudes use designers that are readily available to make a design for your band.
Yeah, that's something I think people don't realize. Is that, like, David Paul Seymour, like, you can just Instagram DM that guy, and he'll do it. And he does art for, like, all the big stoner bands.
I mean, he's done it for everybody. Witchcraft, High on Fire, Mastodon, huge bands.
Yeah, we'll put a link to his Instagram in the caption episode comments, because he's, you know, and coincidentally, he prints all his shirts through Made in Brooklyn.
Yep.
Just a fun little side note. So I guess, right, so so you've got your good design. Well, okay, so obviously with a good printer like you can kind of hook people up with designs. This is something we talk about a lot. What should you be doing when you're trying to decide, when you're a band trying to get a design you don't really know what you want? How do you communicate with your designer?
Well, that's a tough one. You got to think about, you know, what the aesthetic of the band is, what you like, what the band reflects. And also, one thing that you got to come at a designer with is how many colors you want this shirt. You definitely don't want to go too far and get a 5-6 color design. It's going to cost you a ton of money to get printed through us. And then you're going to have a hard time selling it because you're selling it at too high of a price point. So you always want to go a little less colors, a lot bolder, a lot bigger, and a lot more solid. Staying away from like photographs, realism images. I mean, what sells really well? Owls and pot leaves and stuff like that. People love that.
Why would I surprise you?
We all, Earthless uses owls in a lot of their stuff. I have 2 of their shirts with owls on it. It's a great seller.
Jesse from Owl Maker needs to be listening to this right now.
One one thing I've been telling the bands that I consult for, and I'm curious for your thoughts on this, Dave, is to give the designer 5 bands they want to look like and 3 motifs.
Oh, absolutely. To say I want my shirt to look like another successful band's shirt is nothing wrong with that. They're going to draw something new in that realm, especially if you're a stoner metal band or something that they kind of have one of a dozen designs. It's the designs are simple and bold for T-shirts especially. When you're getting your LP done and you're having a digital printer make the layout, the box, the jacket, whatever, you go as crazy as you want. 30 colors, who cares? It doesn't matter. But for a T-shirt, you want it to be dynamic, you want it to be bold, and you want it like it's when you look at a certain shirt, when you look at an Ohm shirt or a Sleep shirt, you know right away 100% who made that shirt. Sleep is really out. They use very similar imagery. They got their big Sleep logo in the middle all the time. It's always neon green, so it's easily recognizable. Brand recognition is very important.
Yeah. And I think sort of tied, yeah, so I guess sort of the question is, you've obviously, worked with bands who have really identifiable brands like Conan, um, or Bong Ripper. At what point do you know, like, can you tell in advance, like with a small band, that their brand is what it needs to be?
It's tough. It's tough. Like the boys from Toke, or STB family, they got it. They figured out a cool logo. It's an upside down pentagram that looks like a pot leaf. And you look at you see one of their T-shirts, and you automatically know it's a Toke shirt. It's just like the Nike swoosh. You look at it, and you know it. You know the brand. To get that isn't easy. They actually happen to halfway fall into it. They, whether it's luck or whatever, they picked a good band name, and they have a brand right away. You have to be a little savvy as a new band coming up. You got to try to make a simpler logo, something that's easily you could recreate in multiple designs, and so you can keep the ball rolling with it and not change the font, the image every single time.
What's the number one mistake you see a lot of bands making with their T-shirt choices?
Usually the design. The design usually, if they don't pay a professional designer, they wind up going with something a little lower quality and something that might not translate so hot into a T-shirt. And sometimes they fall short. And then down the road, they wind up paying a little bit for a design, and all of a sudden they see their shirt selling.
I got a dumb question for you if you're willing to answer it, which is now for most metal bands, is it smart just to have like black or white T-shirts as being their main color, or is it good to use different colors?
I mean, 90% of my printing is done on black T-shirts. So
Totally. But have you noticed any increase in sales with a certain color, or is it just black is what it was?
Some bands do really good with gray. Honestly, white T-shirts it's such a small amount of the market. You could even I look through my closet. I have one or two white shirts, but I don't wear them.
Well, white sucks because you sweat and you get the pit stains. So.
And they get dirty right away.
Exactly.
Black is universal color. Everybody wears it. So, and then especially in the metal genre, it's definitely by far the best seller. But it's nice if your band could afford to have, if you have the money for a couple of colors, it's not a bad idea to have a gray shirt or even a green shirt. Or our Brooklyn homies recently from Leather Lung, they did a design on a yellow shirt and they sold out.
Yeah. Really? Yellow? Huh?
Yeah, yellow, but a darker yellow, not like a bright lemon yellow, like a mustard yellow.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's valuable to have. I think if you're like a band like Leather Lung, who are, they're pretty in the metal scene, right? Like Leather Lung aren't, Leather Lung aren't suddenly going to go sell to indie kids for whatever reason.
No.
But what's cool is they appreciate that, and then I think they also appreciate, well, everyone who's going to come to a Leather Lung show owns 50 black band shirts, right? Which is fine, but if I'm a random metal guy, I kind of want a shirt that's not black. I actually explicitly, whenever I can, get shirts that aren't black.
Right. Well, some people do that too, because how many black shirts are you going to have? But as far this is already a little further down, where if your band is doing good, you should absolutely offer a different option. But in the beginning, I would lean strongly towards black all the way.
I have a question before I forget. Just sorry to cut you off,
Sure.
But I wanted to know, how many shirts would you generally suggest a new band order at first? Because we actually saw a comment the other day, me and Matt, on his Instagram, where someone talked about they pre-ordered too many shirts.
To start off, the ideal amount is 4 dozen.
4 dozen? Okay.
4
That's
dozen.
just for a brand new band just starting out.
Yeah, 4 dozen. You could cover all your bases between small and double XLs. And the most important thing is another important thing that a lot of bands misunderstand or just don't count on is fat guys. A lot of bands they don't get the oversized double and triple XL, and then you have to turn people down because unfortunately a triple XL ain't buying a large.
No, how many triple X do you normally suggest that they
It depends on the bands. I know I deal with plenty of bands that only get extra small through medium. They don't even go over medium. Their fans are a lot of women. You know what I mean? The indie crowd. For metal, it depends.
What about the stoner crowd that Matt's mainly?
The stoner crowd. I mean, I would get at least 1 or 2 triples and see how it goes, but definitely double and XLs. And the stoner metal scene, you're going to sell a lot of larges to double XLs, in my opinion. But you should always have a triple.
Sorry, go ahead.
There's always big dudes at shows.
Yeah, that's for sure. Now, how much does it usually cost to do about 4 dozen shirts on average?
Yeah, it's around $300 all in all.
Okay. Cool. And then that's including all the range of sizes, not just
Right,
that you're
exactly.
talking
Yeah,
about.
you get any mix you want of the five, six main sizes, and yeah, and that's another thing. Like a lot of bands don't. I've noticed. I've been telling bands to do this, especially touring bands. Keep a
Yeah.
spreadsheet. It's
Yeah.
so simple. It takes a few minutes, and you learn what your best sellers are. So next time you reorder, okay, we sold a ton of mediums and larges. We got to go heavy on that.
And how long does it take usually for you to fulfill an order from the time they place it?
2 to 3 days.
That's in Brooklyn, though, right?
Yeah, in Brooklyn, right. So if we have to ship, it obviously takes about 3-4 days to get to the West Coast.
Cool.
1 to 2 days on like the East Coast, middle of the country. But we're pretty
Cool.
quick. I do a lot of rush orders. So sometimes we get the order processed in 24 hours, and it's on the way to where it's got to go.
Cool. Matt, we're going to have to link to his website when we're done.
We are going to link to his website when we're done. But we're heading towards the end here because we don't want to take too much of Dave's time. Dave, what do you have to plug right now? Do you have anything to plug? Give me a look.
Yeah, check out our website, MIBK Big Cartel, and the Instagram, MIBK Silk Screeners. We're always putting up updates, a lot of cool designs that we're always printing. And yeah, always more coming up.
Yeah, you've got quite the solid Instagram presence, right?
Yeah, I did. That's right.
I wonder who does that.
Of course, Matt's always helping out. Very important.
But yeah, Curtis, what do you have to plug as we wrap up here?
Every time you ask me that, I go blank, and then I think of like a dozen things afterwards. But you know what I'm going to plug? I'm going to plug a premiere that we had today, which was Hollow Leg. The Stoner sludge band, Hollow Leg. They just did a premiere over at the Sludge Lord. It's their first new track in, I want to say 2 years, but I think it's 1 year. So go check it out. Go to the Sludge Lord. Don't be a dumbass and listen to it. There you go.
Cool. Dave, I think you print for them, right? No?
No.
Okay. Dave,
Well, you could.
For sure, they
should.
We'll hook him up.
Right. Okay. Otherwise, I've got, again, hit me up. You get a free hashtag list. It's amazing. Also, we're doing right now for $50 a month, you get weekly social media feedback. People have been seeing huge results, not just in, like how much interaction they get, but also like tangible goddamn sales and attendance and shit. Just a thought. It's probably worth it. I don't fucking know. Anyway, this has been another.
I recommend it.
Thank you. This has been another episode of Dumb and Dumbest, where everything's terrible. The house is on fire. Oh God, kill me.
Are we done yet?
We are done.